Hey guys, thought I'd take a break from the usual review videos and do something different. So today I'll be talking about 5 unattainable watches that I'd love to own one day. What's unattainable, you ask? Well, these are watches I do not anticipate owning anytime soon. I know a lot could change in 10 or 15 years, but some of these watches might always remain a dream. And why is that so? For a number of reasons, like limited availability and limited production numbers, or not having a relationship with the brand, but mostly it comes down to the fact that I'm just too broke to afford them. Now I'll list these watches in the order of desirability, with the last one being the most desirable to be. Before we begin, can you take a wild guess which that watch might be? Hint, it doesn't come from Switzerland, but from one of its neighbors. Put it down in the comments and find out if you were right. By the way, not all the watches in the thumbnail are on this list. I wouldn't want to reveal all of them before the video even began. That would have been no fun, right? I've also included timestamps here if you want to skip ahead and see the list. So the first watch on this list is the Omega Speedmaster Silver Snoopy Award 50th Anniversary Special. Who doesn't like a Speedmaster? This beast of a watch was cool enough to go to the moon. And today, they are one of the most iconic watches of all time. Watchfinder published a video calling it the greatest watch of all time. Now that might be an exaggeration, but I do get the hype around these watches, and I find them truly special. The case and design is instantly recognizable, and just the regular moon watch is extremely desirable for many, including myself. What's even better is that personally I love the feel of a Speedy on my wrist. The watch wears well despite its size and feels quite comfortable. So how can we make this already extraordinary watch better? By adding a zooming cartoon dog on the watch, of course. Now I don't want to bore you guys with all the technical details, but all you gotta know is that this watch was made to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the time Omega was conferred the Silver Snoopy Award by NASA in 1970. To celebrate this achievement, Omega has added a blue ceramic bezel and blue subdials on the face, with Snoopy happily dancing in one of these. The back of the watch is even more interesting, with a beautiful representation of the Earth and the Moon. But the best part is the animated Snoopy in his command module flying past when the chronograph function is used. Behind, an Earth disk rotates once per minute in sync with the watch's small seconds hand. I just love how well Omega has executed this watch. It's a quirky take on a classic design, and I'm all for it. Now this watch is unattainable because it's really hard to get one without having an excellent relationship with an Omega boutique. Even then, the waitlist stretches to years and production is very limited. You could still get one on the secondary market for somewhere between $20,000 to $30,000. That's a 200 to 300% markup on the $10,600 retail price. The next watch I would love to own is an integrated steel sports watch. No, it's not the AP Royal Oak or the Patek Philippe Nautilus. In fact, I don't really feel attracted to either of those. But one high-end integrated bracelet sports watch which I would really love to own is the H. Moser & C Streamliner, specifically the Streamliner Center Seconds. I really like Moser watches. These watches are really bold, beautiful and fun. But I usually have one big problem with Moser. Most of their watches are just too big. If you look at the Moser catalog, most of their watches are bigger than 41mm in diameter and have a considerable thickness. I was genuinely taken aback at the heft of these watches when I first saw them and tried them on. There is no way I can wear a 43mm watch that's 14mm thick on my 6-inch wrists. However, the Streamliner Center Seconds is a different story. I got the chance to try one on a few months ago and it felt great. The 40mm integrated bracelet felt comfortable on my smaller than average wrist. It did not feel overly big or disproportionate either. I was very impressed by the finish of the case and the bracelet. And although I had the watch on for just a few minutes, I could tell already that the bracelet was one of the most comfortable steel bracelets I've ever tried. But this watch is not just a pretty face. The Streamliner is powered by Moser's in-house HMC 200 movement, which is a really solid automatic movement. This movement has a solid rose gold rotor and has a power reserve of 72 hours and can be wound in either direction. Being widely used in many time-only watches from Moser, you can rest assured that this is a reliable movement. Also being priced at under 20,000 Swiss francs, this watch is relatively affordable. Oh, let me be clear, it's not affordable for me, but I'm sure it's affordable for many. So if you have the money to spend, I think this watch provides some of the best value as a high-end sports watch. FP Journe is one of the most desirable high horology brands out there. I like several of their models, including the Chronomet Sovereign and the Automatic Loon, but one watch that really intrigues me is the Chronomet Blue. This watch has a tantalum case combined with a unique chrome blue dial. Now, this watch is tantalizing for a number of reasons. See what I did there? One is just the case and the dial on the watch. Tantalum is notoriously hard to work with, machine, and design into a case. The Chronomet Blue achieves this beautifully. The dial on this watch is also unique because the blue is said to look anything but blue in many lighting conditions. Most people say that this watch tends to appear anything from a deep blue to even black when viewed from different angles. On the inside, this watch is powered by FP Journe's Caliber 1304, which is a manually wound 3 Hz movement with a power reserve of approximately 56 hours. Visually, it is one of the best movements you'll see on a simple time-only watch. Oh, and it's entirely made of 18-karat rose gold. And the last reason for wanting this watch is just the sheer difficulty of obtaining one. You know how you want something even more when you know you can't have it? That's the same case over here. Now, although this watch is FP Journe's entry-level model and costs a relatively achievable $25,000 to $30,000, the model's popularity has resulted in super long wait lists. In fact, I don't think FP Journe allots these watches to new customers at all. Naturally, this has skyrocketed their market value to over $80,000 US. Perhaps I'll make a video 30 years from now when I'm able to obtain one and let you guys know whether it was worth the hype. The penultimate watch on my list is the ultimate sports watch from the mind of watchmaker extraordinaire Kari Voutilainen. Meet the Voutilainen 28 Sport. Now, many of you know that Voutilainen is one of the premier watchmakers and designers of this age. All his watches are no less than pieces of art. This, combined with the fact that the Maison produces only a handful of watches each year, makes it no surprise that there is a waitlist spanning several years for most of their watches. And it was a hard choice to settle on just one Voutilainen watch. But just look at this watch and tell me it isn't one of the most beautiful watches you've ever seen. I was blown away the first time I laid my eyes on this watch. This 39mm titanium watch has a sandwich-style dial with an outer ring made of silver. The ring has a beautiful pattern made by a hand-operated engine-turning machine with orange markers providing a striking contrast. The center part and the small second sub-dial are made from a deep black polished onyx. Completing the dial are loomed white gold hands. I love how Voutilainen has shown restraint on the dial, which is almost devoid of any text save the logo and the small handmade print at the bottom. And it's not like the back of the watch disappoints. The in-house movement on the 28 Sport is a masterpiece in its own right. If I'm honest, this is one of the most interesting movements I've seen. As you can tell, the movement doesn't spare any expenses with the generous use of gold. The movement employs a huge balance wheel which helps maintain accuracy and precision. The escapement makes the movement very special. This is the first watch to have 2 escapement wheels in such a configuration. Voutilainen claimed that this escapement is extremely efficient and requires much less energy than traditional lever escapements, offering benefits in terms of longevity and stability in regular use. Now, think you can have one? Forget about it. Even if you had the $75,000 it took to buy one of these, only 8 were made available in 2020 and all were sold out. Why do you think I titled this video Unattainable Watches? If you are a newcomer to the brand, good luck getting one of these watches. And let me know how it goes, because even I'm curious to find out. Very rarely do I like almost all watches from one brand. I usually like a few models from a brand but find the other model just uninspiring or boring. But this is one of those rare exceptions. I am talking about the wonderful watchmaking maison that is A. Lange & Söhne. I think they are one of the best makers of high horology, and I enjoy all their creations, right from the minimalistic Saxonia to the bonkers Zeitwerk. But one watch that sits in the middle at the sweet spot between simple and simply crazy is the Lange 1. Just the name, Lange 1, evokes feelings that this watch is the one. The face of the watch, made of solid silver, is so unique and so striking that there is no watch quite like it. Everything from the off-center hour sub-dial, the power reserve indicator on the right, and the big date complication is distinguishable. Despite having all these different elements, the watch as a whole tends to look cohesive and symmetrical. What's more fascinating is that Lange manages to perfectly execute all these components on a 38.5mm case that's under 10mm thick. These compact dimensions help this watch sit beautifully even on smaller wrists. Talking about beauty, I haven't even gotten to the movement yet. Flip this watch around and you can see the fantastic L121.1 movement. This manually wound movement has a whopping 438 parts, beats at 3 Hz, and runs approximately 72 hours when fully wound. The movement itself is a hallmark of Lange and a fine testament to the lofty standards of Germany's best watch brand. The Lange One is offered on cases made from all types of gold and even platinum. The broader Lange One collection offers a slew of dial options and complications ranging from moon phases, time zones, to even perpetual calendars. So if you have the wallet for it, you can go really crazy. I know that this watch family may be polarizing and not everyone may like the design at first. But I don't think there's anything quite like it, and I believe that most people would really enjoy it, especially after they've seen it in person. If I had to pick just one watch I could buy, it would probably be the A. Lange & Söhne Lange One. Hope you enjoyed my thoughts on some of these fantastic watches. Which one of these watches do you like the most? I'd also like to know what is your favorite Unattainable or Grail watch. I think it will make a great discussion down in the comments, and who knows, perhaps I'll find a new Grail in the process. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all very soon.